Shalom, Asha Shabbat, my peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. Now, I want you all to pardon the background noise. Where I've been led, they're having a whole marathon or walkathon that they started right in this exact location. So all the music, the microphone, people you hear speaking and stuff, they have nothing to do with what this platform of content is talking about. So I don't own any rights to any of the music. Right? Now, as you know, we're out here on the highways and hedges again. And I want to start off with reading Book of Psalms. The Book of Psalms, chapter 92. Book of Psalms, chapter 92. We're going to start off there. I don't have no pre-made lesson, so we're just going to be going through the spirit. So I want to start off with Psalms 92 in honor of the Shabbat. Ashar Shabbat, Josephine Israel. Ashar Shabbat, Keith Rogers. Welcome. We're going to be in the book of Psalm 92. Book of Psalms 92. And yeah, I know my camera's a little sideways. Never mind all that. My tripod is acting up. So it got a little lean right now. But that's not stopping this word. This is the book of Psalms 92. Hananai, Asha Shabbat. Thanks for tapping in with us all the way from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yeah, you're right down the road from Houston. We're in the book of Psalms 92. I want y'all to drop those sevens in the chat when you're there so we can read this together. Psalms 92. We're going to start there. All right, cool. Psalm 92, starting from the top. It is a good thing to give thanks unto Yahweh and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High. To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night upon an instrument of 10 strings and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Yahweh, have made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Yahweh, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Yahweh, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, for O Yahweh, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All of the workers of iniquity, all the workers of iniquity. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shall thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. But my horn shall thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. But my horn shall thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies. Mine eye shall also see my desire on mine enemies. And mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. Again, my ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree, for he shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of Yahweh, those that be planted in the house of Yahweh, those that be planted in the house of Yahweh shall flourish in the courts of our Elohim. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that Yahweh is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Now, with all that being said, right, we know that recently, Babylon has released some pictures and videos that were classified by the Pentagon, pictures and videos of the chariots that got them all spooked out. Yeah, I want to let y'all know that Babylon is scared right now. Mr. Trump, President Trump, states that there has to be total transparency. Let's release these files into the public so they can make whatever they want to make out of it. But we just gotta show them. We know there's another ploy behind that, right? Because they've yet to release these wicked Epstein files. So it may be a distraction of that. But nonetheless, nonetheless, Elohim has been trolling the heathen, has been stalking the heathen. So much so that they're so scared that they're releasing what they're seeing to the public. Now we know there's still a quite bit of censorship in those videos and those photos because they're still in black and white. They altered the images in black and white so you can't see what it is in its entirety. All you got to do is go to the website. If you do a Google search on the Pentagon released UFO files, if you go to any credible news source, they should provide a link to that website where you can see those images that the Pentagon released. But I want to go to a particular precept regarding that matter, right? We're going to jump to Jeremiah 10:1. We're going to keep it basic, and we're going to reflect and meditate on that. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1, you already know what to do when you're on there. Jeremiah 10, verse 1. Hananiah says, your sharp rebuke videos are powerful. Hold on. Powerful edification. Brother Steve E. referred me to watch you, and your channel doesn't disappoint. All praises to the Most High. Blessings to you and Brother Steve V. It's been a minute since he's been through here, but nonetheless, I'm glad he referred you to the channel. All right, we got a couple of sevens for Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hananiah, if you're there, go ahead and drop the 7. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. All right, cool. It says, I hear ye the word of Yahweh. Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. All right, every time this word crack open, as Israelites, we must listen. Okay? We must listen. And sometimes there's moments where haughtiness takes over the mind of Israel. A brother may be going over a certain precept that you're well informed about. And if that moment of pride hits your heart while you're with that brother, you're going to say some shit like, oh, I already know that. Oh, I know this to its entirety. No, shut the hell up and listen. The Most High said, hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you. So it ain't none of that. All right? We can hear a scripture 1,000 times in one setting, and we must meditate. Because the more we meditate on it, the more the Most High is going to reveal to us the information pertaining to what he's speaking about. This word is a deep cavern of precious stones and jewelry. Every time we open up the book, it's like we're opening up a treasure chest. And a treasure chest is the least we can even expound on its entirety, right? That's why I said a cavern. It's like going into a cavern of precious rocks and jewels. So, you can never get enough of this word. But nonetheless, excuse me, we're going to verse 2. And it reads, thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. Learn not the way of the heathen. All right, right now as we speak, Mashpaka, you see all these people doing this running on a Saturday morning, right? On the 7th day of the week, which we know is the Shabbat. Instead of meditating on the word of Yahweh, their asses out here like some heathens doing a full weekend celebration with a run. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people out here, Mashpaka. You're just seeing the ones running around, but over on this side over there, they got a whole crowd, and there's a crowd way beyond these cars in front of me. They got a whole function going on right now. And it was like that some months ago when I was out here in the highways and hedges. It was like that some months ago. What did Yahweh say? He said, thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. You got Israelites out here right now jogging with these heathens, partaking in the way of the heathen. You could have done this tomorrow. Salaki, my allergies are messing up. So bear with me on the cough. They could have done this run tomorrow, but according to Babylonian customs, tomorrow is a day of worship for them. So their asses are out here running on the Lord's Shabbat, acting like it's just a regular weekend. Hey, these people are in the midst of destruction. The Most High says, learn not the way of the heathen. Yasharallah, learn not the way of the heathen. And here's the kicker. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. Now, Master, I've hoped I've set a good example for you all on the videos where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah blessed me with the sightings of the chariots. I hope I've been a good example with that. Because in all those videos, you don't hear me overly excited. You don't hear me confused and questioning what I'm saying. No, I just calmly record it. And the chariots have always presented themselves to me when I'm by myself and not with other people. Just for that reason. Just for that reason. To set a good example of how you're supposed to take it in when the Most High presents his chariots to you. So, with these chariot sightings that Babylon has released to the masses, they're tripping out right now. They tripping out about those chariot sightings because, the upper echelon of the heathen know that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah is about to whoop that ass. Did y'all hear what I said? They know that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah is about to return and whoop their ass. So they're shaking right now. They're very fearful right now. Now, to add on to that, let's go to Luke 21. We're going to hear about what Mashiach Yahweh Shah had to say about it, right? Get out of here. Luke 21. Luke 21. Starting at verse 25. Drop those sevens when you're there. Luke 21, verse 25. Okay, I got 1-7. Let me know when you're there. Luke 21, verse 25. Luke 21, verse 25. Luke 21, verse 25. I'm going to go ahead and start reading. Luke 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and waves roaring. So Yahweh Shah said there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. You don't think the chariots are a part of those signs? Yeah, the chariots are definitely a part of those signs. Because the chariots, as we already know, the chariots can take many forms. They can start off as a sphere or a ball bearing, and they can morph right into a plane. I've seen one do that before. Yes, Mashka, I've seen one morph into a plane. It may have been a couple of years ago, but I was chilling outside, and I was looking up, and I couldn't make what I was seeing. It was high in the sky. It was high up there. Couldn't make what I was seeing. And it was coming my direction, but it was in the sky. All I seen was like a white object. I couldn't make what the object was. It was just white. But nonetheless, as it was coming my direction, after it passed over some clouds, Mashpaka, it turned to a plane. I kid you not. It turned to a plane. like a regular plane. It just turned to it, but it wasn't the shape of a plane from the beginning. So I've seen it morph into these things, right? I've seen it myself, and I couldn't get that on video. The Spirit didn't place it on me to record that moment, but I definitely remember it. There's also been sightings of those drones, 2 years ago, morphing in real time. There was a drone that morphed into a helicopter. I think I got video of that on Instagram. So, we know that the chariots are definitely involved with some of the strange signs that we see in the skies that Yahushua is talking about that will be seen during the last days. Verse 26, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Now we already know that when Yahushua comes, there's going to be plenty of other chariots that come with him, and that sighting is going to scare some people so much that they're going to have a heart attack. People are going to be afraid so much that they're going to have a heart attack, Mashpaka. Verse 27, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. So we know that cloud is a chariot, okay? The unlearned mind will think that he's going to be standing on top of a cloud that we see in the first 7 in the skies, right? No, a cloud is Yahweh's terminology or slang for a chariot or for what you call a UFO, aka UAP. They're also called clouds by the terminology of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushua. All right? So he says, you're going to see him coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And that power and great glory is going to be the magnificent sighting of him coming in that chariot. Now, I can only imagine, I'll speak as a man here. That chariot that Yahushua might come in might be as big as the sky itself. It might be big as the sky itself. Who knows? That's my interpretation from my finite mind as a man of what that power and great glory is going to be. It's going to be as huge as the sky itself. As you look up, the whole chariot that Yahushua is in is going to take up the entire sky. So that's my definition of it, speaking as a man. Now, he states here, what? Now he states here in verse 28. He says here in verse 28, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Yep. Yahushua says our redemption is coming close. So lift up your heads. Don't be discouraged. Lift your head up. We're about to be redeemed. Mashpaka. All of the atrocities that we have faced as a people, we're about to have redemption from Yahushua when he returns. And he's going to return in the nature that he's expressed here in Luke 21, verses 25 through 28. Now, with that being said, right, the Spirit is taking me to Isaiah 54. The Spirit is taking me to Isaiah 54. Isaiah 54:17. So we're going to go there, Isaiah 54:17. And bear with me as I'm getting there myself, because I don't have these precepts listed. I just Spirit told me to come out here and speak the word, so I did it. I don't have any type of lesson in preparation. It's all impromptu, freestyled by the Spirit. So Isaiah 54 and verse 17. When y'all there, drop that 7 in the chat. Isaiah 54, verse 17. I got 1-7 waiting on 2 more. Isaiah 54, 17. So that. All right. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17. Isaiah 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. Thou shalt condemn every tongue that rise against thee in judgment. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh. So, Mashpaka, those sharp rebuke videos that Hananiah just mentioned, hey, that's Isaiah 54, verse 17, being enacted for all of Yasharala, for all of those who are walking in truth. Every sharp rebuke is dedicated to us as a whole. When those sharp rebukes come on to me, I'm not just picking and choosing which ones to do. The Spirit tells me what to rebuke. As far as what's out there on a mass scale, right? On a grand scale, the Spirit tells me what to rebuke. I'm not out there picking and choosing, I'm going to go ahead and do a rebuke on that. No, it just comes to me. And that's Isaiah 54, verse 17, being enacted for the entire faith. So let that be understood. Those sharp rebukes are for y'all too. They're for y'all too, through the Spirit. That's the Spirit defending your belief as well. You hear me? And when we're speaking on a spiritual aspect here, right? We also know that Isaiah 54 and 17 can be taken to a personal scale too, with direct attacks against us. But here we're looking at it from a grand scale. It wasn't by accident that Hananiah mentioned the sharp rebukes, speaking on the sharp rebukes. It wasn't by accident. The Spirit told him to cover that so that way we can expound on it more. Those sharp rebukes are Isaiah 54, verse 17, being enacted, condemning those who rise up against us in the faith, speaking curses unto them as well. And that's what we're doing, condemning them. Let's read it again. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that rise against us in judgment, against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. So next time there's a sharp rebuke, take it personal. Take it as a defense for yourself as well, and let it be a faith booster for you. Yeah, let it be a faith booster for you. And just related to any type of persecutions you face that are attacked against your faith itself. The gainsayers and the scoffers that you face individually. Hey, let those sharp rebukes be a faith booster for your own journey. Just know that the Spirit is defending your faith on such sharp rebukes. And that's any rebuke that you see a brother doing. Any rebuke. It's not only a defense of their individual faith, it's a defense to the entire faith. Let's get that. Let's get that in the book of Jude. Let's go to the book of Jude. Let's go to the book of Jude. We're going to the book of Jude, and we're going to go ahead and start from the top on this one. All right, got 1-7. Waiting for the other 7s before I begin. Going to the book of Jude. There's only one chapter in Jude. One chapter. And we're going to start from the top. Book of Jude. All right, cool. Jude, the servant of Yahweh Shah Mashiach, and brother of James, to them that are sanctified by the Most High, Abanawa, our Father, the Father, and preserved in Yahweh Shah Mashiach, and called. Mercy unto you, and peace and love be multiplied. Verse 3, here we go. Man, it's crazy. I promise this is spiritual wickedness trying to shut me up with all this coughing, because I didn't start coughing like this until I started recording. So I need a cup of Shema Mashiach Yahweh. We rebuke this mess out of here. Nothing will prevent this word. Boy, Shema Mashiach Yahweh. I didn't start coughing until I got out here. I didn't start getting congested until I got out here. That's crazy. Verse 3, beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that ye shall earnestly contend for the faith. That ye shall earnestly contend for the faith. That ye should earnestly contend for the faith, which was once delivered unto the saints. So that's what those sharp rebukes are. It's a contending for the faith. And it should be a faith booster every time you watch it. It is a contending for the faith. And it's undefeated. It is undefeated. No gainsayer can say anything about this word. No gainsayer can say anything about this truth and not to be its own bullshit that they coming up with it from their own mind. Sure, I got a whole perspective on this, right? And this helps my faith. It's a lot. This helps my faith, right? And I may do a lesson on it to expound further on where I'm coming from with this, but I see everything, okay? And y'all already know this is the unfiltered truth, all right? So y'all know not to be offended by what's said here. I see everything that's contrary. Everything that's contrary to the word of the Most High, that's spoken against that word. I see it as the toilet paper I use to wipe my ass. Did you hear me? I see everything. That's how I take everything that is contrary to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Any individual telling me some bullshit outside of this word, I see it as the toilet paper I use to wipe my ass. That's how all opinions are seen to me. So any of you scoffers that catch wind of this video, you're wasting your time. All right? You're wasting your time, because when I'm defecating, I use your opinions and your words to sanitize myself. Yes, I use your opinions and the words that you produce from your reprobate mind as a sanitizing wipe when I am defecating. That's how I view everything that is contrary to what our Father says. And I encourage you all to take that same stance, because there'll definitely be a tremendous shield to your faith. Can't nobody talk you out your faith once you have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to discern what is right and what is from wrong, and what's contrary to Yahweh's business, and what's contrary to Yahweh's business, and what's of Yahweh's business. Once you take that stance and you have that developed in your meditation, nobody can tell you anything. And with that same mindset, you will stomp out a lot of devils. You will stomp out a lot of... Yeah, we almost got disconnected there. You will stomp out a lot of devils. And those sharp rebukes are the proof. Those sharp rebukes are the proof. So as Jude chapter 1, verse 3 says, we earnestly contend for the faith. That's how we should see everything that's contrary to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai as. You see it as sanitizing wipes. You see it as toilet paper that you use when you're defecating. That's how you should view everything that's contrary to the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. It's tissue used to clean yourself after defecating. Yeah, they messing with the screen, because every time I touch the screen, they try to take me to a website. Yeah, see, spiritual wickedness is on one this morning. Spiritual wickedness is on one this morning. You ain't gonna shut me up. I'm telling you, I touched the screen, Mashpaka, and they tried to take me to a website. Can you believe that? I'm trying to see what y'all talking about, and the screen kicks me out the live and takes me to a website. All right, y'all pretty quiet here. Y'all pretty quiet after that example. Hey, y'all know this is unfiltered truth of God, so y'all in there being squeamish on what I'm saying, y'all need to get y'all spirit right, because y'all too quiet after I gave that example. That was a perfect example to help you defend your faith, and y'all quiet like that. Y'all offended or what? Y'all offended or what? Y'all should be praising the Most High right now that I gave y'all that example of how to take scoffers. Y'all should be praising the Most High that I gave y'all that example on how to deal with scoffers. Yeah, there you go. That's the spirit. That's spirit. Don't let spiritual wickedness deter you from praising the Most High on such an example. Ain't nothing wrong with the example I gave you. Yeah, it's a little on edge, right? It's a little rough on the edge or whatever, but you need that to be contending for the faith. You need that to be contending for the faith. You think the prophets were out here speaking gently and softly, rebuking devils? No, they weren't. They weren't. You think the prophets are out here using soft speech? No. Get in the spirit. Boy, shimmer myself, y'all was shot. All right, so now with that being said, right? With that being said, Spirit's taking me to Proverbs. Just from that. Just from that alone, Spirit's taking me to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 3. We're going to Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3. And we're going to start from the top here. Because this is in relation to the defense mechanism that you can adopt when dealing with scoffers and naysayers, right? Because, you know, you got some crafty ass scoffers out here that are truly on the left-hand side. A lot of them are witches and warlocks. And they got the gift of gab. And they may have a high level of intellect to where somebody who's maybe still a babe or not fully rooted in truth yet, they can soothsay them out of the faith. So you must have such a mentality, right? You must have such a mentality against such wickedness, man. You can't be soft with spiritual wickedness. No. Now, the only time that such harsh speech and such a harsh, on-edge attitude doesn't work, especially when you're dealing with devils and spiritual wickedness, right? It doesn't work for ungodly individuals. And before we go to Proverbs verse 3, I want to get that real quick because, again, through the Spirit, everything here is impromptu. We're going to jump to Sirach chapter 21. All right. I'm going to give you further emphasis on what I was just saying before we go to Proverbs chapter 3. This is just to expound on what I was telling you. The only time that doesn't work is for an ungodly individual. Now, they're doing everything in their power to try to confuse this ministry. They're doing everything in their power right now because right now it's showing that I only have one person in here. They're showing that I only have one person in here. And I done seen the number jump all the way to 6. Now it's down to 1. I don't know what's going on here, but that's what they're showing me. Trying to discourage this lesson. Trying to discourage this lesson. You devils are destroyed. All right? You devils are already destroyed. So we're in Sirach chapter 21, starting at verse 27. As it reads, when the ungodly curseth Satan, he curseth his own soul. So that's the only time that harsh speech and that edgy attitude doesn't work against spiritual wickedness. Is when it's an ungodly person doing it. When it's an ungodly person doing it, that's the only time it doesn't work. But if you're being obedient, swear I feel like something just jumped in my throat, man. You ain't gonna shut this up. You ain't gonna shut this up. That's the only time it don't work. Is when an ungodly person is cursing Shaitan out. Cursing Shaitan and his minions out. That's the only time it doesn't work. Verse 28. A whisperer defileth his own soul, and is hated wheresoever he dwelleth. And he's hated wherever so he dwelleth. So that whisperer is also an ungodly person. Those who tell stories, who gossip, share business that's supposed to be confidential. You have somebody who confide in them and then they out running telling everybody of what they confide in them. Yeah. They defile their own soul being that way. Just like the ungodly defile their own soul cursing out Shaitan. Now let's get back to Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3. Starting from the top, y'all already know what to do when y'all there. Proverbs chapter 3. All All right. We're starting from the top here. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. We were told to forget not the law of Yahweh. But let these anti-Christians, these antichrists, right? These so-called Christians tell you, oh, we're not bound by the law. We don't have to follow the law. Jesus nailed it to the cross. No, you shut the hell up. The Most High said, forget not his law. He says, but let thy heart keep my commandments. That's not forgetting the law. If you're doing the commandments, you're doing the law. So don't let anybody try to soothsay you out of keeping the law. Don't let anybody soothsay you and try to not keep the law, saying that Jesus not nailed it to the cross. No, they're a damn liar. They're a witch or they're a warlock. Straight up. They're a low-level witch or a low-level warlock trying to put curses onto you to be destroyed. That's all that's about. That's all that's about. Now, what's the benefit? What's the benefit of keeping the commandments and not forgetting the law of Yahweh? Verse 2. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Length of days, long life, and peace. Peace. Not many people have peace, Mashpaka. Not many people have peace. The majority of people out here walking right now, they ain't got peace. That's why they out here on a Saturday walking and running looking like some fools. They don't have peace. Man, let me zoom in on these folks. I can't zoom in on them, but y'all see them walking across the screen. They don't got no peace. Because they're not keeping the commandments. They out here doing whatever the hell they want to do instead of reverencing the Most High. Now, you may have a few of them that woke up early this morning and paid some type of tribute to the Most High. You may have a few Israelites participating into this right now. But nonetheless, it's folly. It's all folly that we see. Verse 3. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thine heart. So mercy and truth relates to the law, the commandments. We should know them like the back of our hand. That's the figurative speech used here by Malak Shalamah through the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Well, and what benefit of that? What's the benefit we get for that, Mashpaka? Verse 4. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of the Most High and man. So by doing this, we're not going to be hated like the individual that was stated in Sirach 21 that goes about telling secrets, defiling their own soul, and be hating of everybody around them. Yeah, those people that the hood hates, that the community hates, that the workplace hates because they talk too much, they run their mouth, they speak on things they shouldn't be speaking on. Yeah, they defile themselves and people grow a dislike for them. But if you keep in the commandments with the faith of Yahweh Shah, you're going to find overall favor in the sight of man. You're going to be able to dwell peacefully to a degree. You know, and don't get me wrong. Just being in this truth, you're surrounded by enemies. But nonetheless, your enemies will be at peace with you. Man, let's go ahead and get that. Let's get that real quick. This is Proverbs chapter 16. Proverbs chapter 16, And we're going to start at verse 7. It's a lot. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7. Drop the 7 in the chat when you're there. Let me know. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7. To expound on what we just read in Proverbs 3. All right, cool. When a man's ways please Yahweh, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. So there you have it. That's context of what we just read of in Proverbs chapter 3. Now let's go back to Proverbs chapter 3. That's the context of what we just read of having favor in the sight of Yahweh and the sight of man in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 4. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understanding. So here's where we play into the further knowledge of the example I gave on taking every opinion that's contrary to the word of Yahweh as the toilet paper you use to clean yourself with after you finish defecating. Now, I know it's a raw and it's a very harsh example, but that's the attitude you need to have when dealing with the world. That's literally how I take every opinion and every scoffer that comes my way. That's how I see their state of mind. That's how I see their words, and I exude it accordingly. That's how my sharp rebukes are so filled with raw edginess. That's how I take anybody and any opinion that's contrary to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah and the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that he's provided to us with the gift of faith that he's given us. So that's where this attitude comes from, Mashbaka. That's where this attitude of taking such contrary opinions and doctrines and philosophies and thoughts as toilet paper. Every time you go to the bathroom and you got to get rid of waste, and you look over and you see that sanitary wipe, that wet wipe, that roll of toilet paper, you should instantly think, oh, this is the world's opinions. Yeah, let me clean myself with the world's opinions. Let me clean myself with the world's philosophies and doctrines. Yep, dust your feet off and keep moving. Yep, granted, yeah, that's a correlated example there, Keith. But I'm just trying to help y'all be more edgy with it to protect your own faith from these scoffers. You know, you may not be as edgy as I am. You know, we all have our own gifts, but I'm just sharing that with you all on how to guard your own faith, to guard your mind and your spirit from such wicked seductions that are out here in Babylon. Let's get back to it. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 6. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Listen. Just by calling on the name Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you acknowledging him. It doesn't always have to be a full-fledged prayer. It doesn't have to be a full-fledged prayer all the time, Mashbaka. Just call on him. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're dealing with, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Now, mind you, be discreet with it. Don't be around a room full of people and you just yell that out at work, right? Be wise as serpents. Say it under your breath Say it in your mind when you need to, but be circumspect. Don't be self-destruction. Don't be self-destructive in righteousness. Don't be over-righteous. And yell it out in the most undiscreet times. It's a lot. Verse 7. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear Yahweh and depart from evil. Now, isn't my example a departure from evil? Because what do you do with toilet paper after you use it? You have no desire to keep it. It goes down the toilet. That's the same way we should be with evil philosophies and doctrines. You know? God dang. You know, I want to speak on something. And I've gotten on this soapbox before, but, you know, it needs to be said. These Hebrew women with platforms, they be going the hell off. They be going the fuck off. I'm gonna say it with the righteous indignation I got. They be going the fuck off. So there's one Hebrew woman that has gained a large following, right? She gained a large following because of the content that she posts. And I'm not discrediting that she doesn't make any good points from time to time, but nonetheless, she shouldn't be in front of a camera. It doesn't matter how indirect she may be and not actually preaching the word. She shouldn't be in front of a camera because of that. There was a post I seen in my Instagram feed. I don't follow the woman or anything, but from time to time she comes up in my Instagram feed. And whoever is her head, whatever man she dealing with, needs to get her off that damn camera. So run tell her that. Her ass need to get off the damn camera. Because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua presented a reel to me where she posted young Pharaoh speaking on a matter and using young Pharaoh as an example of some type of moralism or knowledge, right? And like I said, y'all already know my attitude, so I don't even know what he was talking about. I can't remember what he was talking about. But the fact that it was coming from an Egyptologist perspective, and she's posting the shit. She's posting the shit as an example of edification. You women need to shut the fuck up. All right, y'all don't deserve platforms like that. Shut the fuck up. Because y'all not making any damn sense, and y'all entertain wickedness because y'all are not supposed to be putting your necks out in the lines like we do. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up and go sit down. That's what the fuck y'all need to do. Any of y'all Hebrew women listening, y'all got a platform, I'm telling you if your man ain't telling you, shut the fuck up. All right? Shut the fuck up. Because y'all rotting confusion. Y'all rotting a whole bunch of confusion out there. And guess what? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to hold y'all accountable for the confusion that y'all lead. Yeah, he is. He's going to hold y'all accountable for the confusion that y'all lead. Because y'all got a whole bunch of women that follow after y'all because of that fake-ass sisterhood that y'all got going on. That fake-ass sisterhood that y'all got going on. Yeah, I don't care about y'all looking. Yeah, y'all can look at me and hear me out here yelling. I don't give a fuck. That fake sisterhood that y'all got going on, and y'all supposed to be Hebrew women, yeah, that right there is going to get y'all destroyed. That's going to get y'all destroyed. Y'all need to shut the fuck up. All right? Shut the fuck up. And go ahead and share this with a Hebrew woman that you know that has a platform like that. I don't care. Share it with them. Share this moment with them and tell them I said shut the fuck up. Because their man ain't telling them to shut the fuck up. Whoever they laying in bed with ain't telling them to shut the fuck up. So Yahweh Hashem Yahweh shot through this vessel is telling them to shut the fuck up. You supposed to be spitting this truth without the word, yet your ass putting young Pharaoh as an example that people should be listening to. Young Pharaoh's bugged the hell out, and he's a devil, and he's damned for destruction. Ain't supposed to be listening to no goddamn young Pharaoh. See, that's why you women need to shut the fuck up, because you're bound to fall into some folly, sticking your necks out here on the front lines. You bound to fall into some folly, and when you fall into some folly, you're gonna share that folly with whoever's under your influence, and you're just gonna multiply more folly. Shut the fuck up. All right, let me go ahead and tone down before they call the cops on me, because everybody walked by and looked at me. I don't care though. Let's get back to Proverbs chapter 3. We're going to finish off with verse 8. And then I'm going to go ahead and end it here because the Spirit's telling me I need to go ahead and move around. Because, you know, it's nothing but a bunch of heathens and Idumeans out here more than it is Israelites. So they're going to be quick to send authorities over here with me going off in a righteous indignation. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 8. It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Yeah, that's what it is to follow Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. It's health to your navel and marrow to your bones. It's life-giving. That's emphasis on verse 2, where it says, for length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. That's the health to the navel and marrow to the bones. Now I'm going to end it here. Those of you all on Patreon, be on the lookout. I'm going to go ahead and finish up on a lesson from last week. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, may peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. Shalom.